A 24-year-old woman is arrested at a Malibu restaurant after acting strangely. She isn't violent. She isn't a threat. But something is clearly wrong. Police take her in, process her, and then, just after midnight, they release her alone. No phone, no car, no way home. She walks away from the station into the dark California night and is never seen alive again. Mitrice Richardson was 24 years old, a college graduate, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. She grew up in California and had recently graduated from California State University, Fullerton. People who knew her described her as bright, ambitious, and full of energy. But in the weeks leading up to September 2009, her family had noticed changes. She'd been behaving differently, saying things that didn't quite make sense, acting in ways that concerned the people closest to her. Looking back, many believe she was in the early stages of a mental health crisis. On the evening of September 16, 2009, Mitrice went to Jeffrey's, an upscale restaurant in Malibu, California. Staff called the police after she ordered a meal, behaved erratically, and then said she couldn't pay the bill. Witnesses described her as confused and disoriented, not dangerous, not threatening, just clearly not herself. Deputies from the Lost Hills Sheriff's Station responded and took her into custody. Her car was impounded. Her phone was not with her. Her family was not notified that she was being held. This is where the case becomes deeply troubling. Just after midnight, in the early hours of September 17th, Mitrice Richardson was released from the Lost Hills Sheriff's Station. She had no phone to call anyone, no car to drive, no money, and no way to get home. The station sits in the hills above Malibu, surrounded by dark canyon roads, rugged wilderness, and miles of remote terrain. At that hour, there were no buses, no taxis, and almost no traffic. Her mother had actually called the station that night, asking about Mitrice. She was told her daughter would be held until morning. She wasn't. Surveillance footage later confirmed Mitrice walking away from the station, alone, into the darkness. That was the last confirmed sighting of her alive. Her family raised the alarm almost immediately. They knew something was wrong. They knew she had been struggling. And they could not understand why she had been released alone in the middle of the night into one of the most remote areas of Los Angeles County. Search efforts began. Authorities combed the surrounding canyons, trails, and hillsides. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. There was no sign of Mitrice Richardson. Her family continued to push for answers. They spoke publicly about what they believed was a catastrophic failure by the sheriff's department. A young woman in a clear mental health crisis had been processed and released into the wilderness at midnight. And no one had stopped to ask whether that was safe. Nearly 11 months after she disappeared, in August 2010, hikers discovered human remains in a remote canyon in the Santa Monica Mountains, not far from where Mitrice was last seen. The remains were later confirmed to be Mitrice Richardson. The location was difficult to reach. The terrain was steep and isolated, and the questions that had been building for nearly a year came rushing to the surface all at once. How did she get there? What happened in the hours after she walked away from that station? And why? With a family desperately searching, with her name in the news, with search teams in the field, had no one found her sooner? The medical examiner was unable to determine a cause of death. The manner of death was ruled undetermined. No signs of foul play were conclusively established, but no clear explanation was ever given either. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department faced significant scrutiny over their handling of the case. An internal review found that deputies had made errors in judgment the night of her release. The decision to let her go, alone, at midnight in that location, was identified as a critical failure. Mitrice's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Los Angeles County. After years of legal proceedings, the county reached a settlement with her family in 2015. Money, but no answers. Mitrice Richardson was 24 years old, a college graduate, a daughter, a woman whose family knew something was wrong and tried to get help for her, only to have the system release her into the night and lose her forever. The exact truth of what happened after she walked away from that station has never been established. Her case remains open. If you have any information about the death of Mitrice Richardson, contact the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. This case deserved better. She deserved better. If this story stayed with you, follow for more cases that don't get the attention they should. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Unanswered evidence.